All right, good morning. Happy Wednesday. I'm so happy to see you guys on here. I know some of you cannot turn your videos on. If you can, I would love it. So I don't feel like I'm talking to myself, but I'm excited to get on here and chit chat a little bit. Um, and today we are going to be talking about um a couple different things that I'll tie together, but we're going to be talking about your why. We're going to be talking about um what drives you. So I really want you guys to kind of just like feel free to drop stuff in the chat. Or if you want to unmute and kind of talk, that would be fine too. But okay, so when we get into this business, it's always like, okay, well, what's your why? Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to do this? And I feel like when I got started, it was kind of like a cute thing. Like it was like, oh, what's your why? Why are you doing this? And then as your business grows, your why is really ever changing. Um, but I sometimes, at least for me, and if you agree or disagree, feel free to drop that in the chat too. I sometimes think that our why is our big driving force, right? That is the big goal. This is why I'm going to do the things. But on the daily, I feel like we need to have, like a what's driving you kind of thing. You need to know what's going to drive you to accomplish your why. Because sometimes the why can be so big and so far out that it can be hard to place yourself in that position, which we're going to talk about doing a little bit later. But um, for me personally, and drop this in the chat too, like, what is your personality? For me, I'm a red personality. If you've never done a color personality test, I really advise you to do that. And if you are a leader of anyone on your team, um, I would tell you to have them do it so you have a better understanding of them. So for me, I'm red. So I'm very goal driven. I am very like money speaks to me. Carrots, like prizes, cruises, incentives. That stuff really is a driving force for me to run after my goal, to run towards my why, right? And that is not for everyone. And I know a lot of times we throw around the income graphic for the month, and the incentive, and we throw that stuff around. And while it is fun and very exciting, and for me, like I said, that speaks my language, I'm finding um, that I feel like when I talk to some people about it, it's falling on deaf ears. And they might be excited about it, but it's not enough for them to push for something. It's not enough for them to get uncomfortable. They don't necessarily feel that burn because of the income amount or the ice cream maker, right? There has to be something that's going to really set that fire for them. So I would love to hear from you guys. Like, what are some things that it drives you? Is it helping others? Is it just accomplishing a goal and feeling accomplished? Is it money? Is it um helping others and having an impact? Is it seeing others succeed? What really drives you? You're like, okay, I can get down and dirty for this. I want to, this is what I want to see. This is what I want to do. This is why I'm here. This is my everyday nitty gritty, what I love, right? And then we have our bigger why, which would be your overall why, which feel free to drop them in the chat too, or if you want to unmute and share. But what I have found is when we ask somebody, hey, what's your why? Okay, it's I I want to make things more comfortable. This is a common one. I want to make things more comfortable for my husband, so not all the financial stress is on him. Very cute answer, right? Very cute answer. Sounds great, flowery. But is that enough for you to show up when you don't want to? Is that enough that if it takes 5 years to do that, you're going to stick around? And something I always challenge myself, like, if this doesn't happen, will I actually suffer? Is anything going to change? If I don't actually take financial stress off of my husband, will my lifestyle be affected? What's going to suffer? What is going to really put me in that uncomfortable position? We've talked about this before here, you know, like God forbid one of your kids gets sick, you're moving heaven and earth to get them better, to get whatever it is, whatever dollar you need to make, right? So your big why. I want to put my kids in private school. Maybe that's it. I want to be able to send my kids to private school, that I'm going to pay tuition. Okay. The day that they get on a bus and go to public school, is it really going to be that bad for you? You're like, well, they're still in school. We don't live in that bad of a district. Like, is there that burning desire? I will not put them on a bus to go to public school. Come hell or high water. This business is going to be my ticket. This business is my ticket to retirement, because this business is my ticket to taking care of my parents in their elderly years, because this is like, what is that emotional connection? I want to have more wiggle room in our budget. Okay, if you don't, a year from now, have more wiggle room in your budget, are you going to stand in the grocery store line and have to figure out what you're buying or not buying? Is it going to hurt? Is it going to affect you? Or is it like, I mean, we're okay. We're comfortable. Comfortable is literally the worst state ever, because you're not going to move. You're not going to move. Because you're like, oh, I mean, we're okay. I'll just clip some more coupons, right? I'll just make sure we go to church 3 times this week because my kids aren't in private school. I'll just, right? Like, we justify we're comfortable. We make it okay because we're not actually suffering. It's not actually going to make a massive difference. So I want to challenge you with your why. If you would like to unmute, I would love to hear like your personality colors, or like, are you someone that's like a carrot chaser? Are you someone that really wants to leave impact on people? Are you someone that just like cares about people and you're just yellow to the bone? You just want to help all the people, bring all the people. I want to help all the people. What are some things that you want to hear from? Just to hear from here. Lisa.
I'll go ahead and say something. I don't know what color I am. I forget that test I took. So I'm not sure. But over the 3 years that I've done it, you know, of course it was to get my products paid for and, you know, to make life easier, you know, whatever. But after the 3 years, I really get an adrenaline rush when I know someone has something that these products can help with and that they are going to have an amazing testimony. I was actually sold on listening to the testimonies. And that's what really drove me, is knowing that this is something that really could change my life. And then once, you know, I heard a lot of other testimonies, I'm like, oh my goodness, this could change this person's life and this person's life. So I am like, that is my why at this point in my journey. It's like, I just can't wait for someone to have a testimony because I got them started. Like, I'm just thrilled that I can be a part of that.
I love that. So that's something that you can wake up every single day and you're like, today's goal is to help someone get started, get someone to share their amazing results, or have a conversation that leads to someone sharing with me their results or what has changed, or like, that is the goal every single day. And doing those things is going to move the needle forward. Like, if my goal today is to search out someone on my team who is loving their products and get them to share that I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep digging through all the things until I find that person. So I love that that's a daily driving force for you. Anybody else want to share what kind of personality they are? What drives you on the daily?
I'll share. Let me get away from the air compressor out here.
You're okay. We can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Get away from the air compressor.
You're good.
Good. Cool.
Yep.
So, you know, I think I am like between red and yellow. Very much carrot driven. It's always been like, oh, I can earn this, I can earn that, working for it. But if you looked at my back office, you would see the number of people that I have whose subscriptions run between the 26 and 28. And truthfully, it's embarrassing. Like, it used to be 50 to 60% before I realized it's not always about the incentive, because if we're doing the work, we could just go out and buy the incentive. We can go and do the thing.
Yes.
And, the first time, like sitting down with a handful of people actually on this call right now and having dinner and talking about like, what do we want to do? I want to impact a lot of people. It took a very, very long time, within the past year that I realized, well, I want to impact a lot of people, but there is a financial why between that or behind that,
Mhm.
because like right now I'm hanging out with my son in the yard. I want to be able to take him to Scotland. I want to be able to take him to Romania. I want to be able to take him, my wife, my daughter around the world and be able to pick up a phone and actually work while I'm doing it. And that's not something I've been able to travel the world, but I didn't have that one bonus. So that's where like, all right, financially, this is why I want to do it. I've got 4 years left. Now I've put a clock on it. I've got 4 years before they have the option to move out.
I love that. Put a clock on it.
To be able to do it. And that's where it's at. So definitely in between, but also that's been helpful in recognizing the people as we're reaching out. Most of the friends that I have, I mentioned this yesterday for those that were on, or Monday, excuse me, but we have so many people in our lives that are already successful. Will they take the time to buy that nice vacation for their family? And as I'm asking friends, they won't. They don't want to spend the $5,000 to take their spouse on a 4-day vacation because they can't even imagine stepping away. But when you say, hey, you could earn it, it could be given to you, all of a sudden the dynamics changing. So that's been a really, really powerful discovery in both myself and in the business.
I love that. I love that. And seriously, putting a clock on it, because Michael can, you can emotionally connect with that. You got 4 years before they're like, hey dad, I'm out. Then what? Now they've got their own life, their own responsibilities, things that they can't just walk away from work and go to Scotland, right? So it puts that sense of urgency of like, am I going to be okay the day that happens? And I didn't make this happen because September was really busy. Right. So I love that, Michael. Thank you so much for sharing that. And something else, too, like my husband, when we get talking about, cause he has it's not even 9 to 5. He has a 4 to 6 job. And so it's like, okay, Kate, like we're going to go on this Bahamas cruise. I have to take off. So that's money lost, right? If he's out of vacation time, I have to take off for 4 days. So now we need to make up the money that I'm going to be losing to go on this trip with you. Right. So it's just like, Michael, they don't want to pay the $5,000 to take their wife on a Bahamas cruise. But then it's also say they're, it's a week, they're going to lose, let's just say they lose $1,200 a week in pay. Now it's costing them $6,200. And then the childcare, if they don't want to take their kids, now they got to pay somebody, right? So those are problems that we can solve. Hey, honey, I just earned a 3-day, I don't even know what it is, honestly, 3-day cruise to the Bahamas, but I also want some of the incentives, which is an extra $1,500. That's going to pay for childcare, cover your 3 days off. Now what? But those are solutions that people that aren't solution oriented or are not in the positive space, that they're just seeing the problems. They're just seeing the problems. Like, we have to show them solutions. Hey, listen, there is a $500 incentive. I don't know that these numbers are correct for this contest, by the way, but there's $500 cash incentive. If I do this, 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 and this, that's going to cover childcare and it's going to cover XYZ. We have to, when people are like, oh no, I can't take off work. Honey, why can't you take off work? I don't have any PTO time. Can you take off work unpaid? Like, is that super frowned upon in your business? Some might say yes, some might say no. Okay, we have to talk with people to show them the possibilities, cast that vision of what that would look like. So I love that. And I'll real quick. Okay, so I'll go over the colors real quick. If you are a red personality, you are very goal driven, carrot driven, money oriented, like business minded, hustle, all the things. Yellow, you're super caring. A lot of times that's like nurses and teachers. They just care about all the people. They want to help all the people. They're super loving, super compassionate. You're a green personality. You're like, you're in the nitty gritty details of the products and the science. And I want to know how every single contest works. I want to break it down. I want to do the math. I want to know what's in each product. I want to know how to, like, you are detail oriented. And then what am I missing? Blue, you are life of the party. Okay. You are here for all the events. You are here for all the fun. You are here for the community. You're setting up the parties. You're doing the event. Like, that is you. You are here for it all. You are the hype person. Yeah, pretty much that's it. So those are the colors. So you can kind of see where you fit in that, but you can see how it is helpful to know where your team falls. So you're speaking their language. I know, like I said, I'm red. So there's times that I get on my team calls and I'm like talking about the excitements and like the incentives and the money and like, this is what you can do with it. And, and I'm like, I know that there's people on here, it's just deaf ears because they don't care about the money. That's not talking there. It's like, I may as well get on here and speak Portuguese. Like, they have no idea what I'm saying. So, one is important to know yourself and to really, figure out what's driving you daily. And that's going to give you a sense of discipline. Motivation and discipline are different. Discipline, you're going to do it when you really don't want to, when circumstances aren't the best, right? Motivation, it's easy to do when things are perfect, the stars align, everything's going great. Discipline is going for the run in the rain, right? Motivation will keep you running when it's nice out. Discipline will keep you running when it's raining. So the other thing that we need to be able to do with our whys, once we establish them, is to be able to see it, to feel it, and experience it before it happens. You need to be able to sit in your why, whether it be a why that's a year from now, a why that's 3 years, 5 years, sit in that and really feel the emotions of, when we get to this place, what does that look like? What does that feel like? How do I feel emotionally? Where do I feel it in my body? What is it going to look like in my life? We need to be able to experience that. And it's kind of that scenario of like, once we get there, it's like, if I only knew this, if I knew the outcome, well, you can know the outcome. And if you focus on the outcome and the goal as if you already know it, you will work towards that. You will work towards that. If we know the outcome of something, our behavior will change. If we don't know what's going to happen, we're just kind of like all over the place. We're flying blind. Like, I have no idea what's going to happen here. We're just going to go in and go for it. Like, I don't know. So knowing that, believing it before it even happens in your brain and allowing your body to experience that is super important. The other thing that I want to touch on is going with your gut. Okay. This happens to me all the time. And I literally have conversations with myself of like, why don't you do this more? How many times have you personally, like, that little voice inside of your head, somebody asks you a question, the little voice inside of your head gives you an answer, and then you're like, I don't know, is that right? Is that wrong? I don't even know why I want to say that, but is that wrong? Go with your gut more often than not. Your subconscious is incredibly intelligent. Okay. And I can't tell you how many times this happens, and I'm just more and more and more. We were driving the other day and there was a detour. And my dad was driving. Nobody had GPS on because we've been around a million times. There was a detour. I've never taken the detour route. And they were like, is this right? Should we go here? Is this the right? I'm like, this is the right way. I will be honest. I was not sure. I just knew this is right. This is going to take us. I just knew, like, my subconscious knew that this was correct. My conscious state was not sure. I had people ask me a couple dates the other day of somebody's, of things that happened. I was not sure at all. But my subconscious threw up a date in seconds. And I went, you know what? I'm 99% sure this is correct. And it was. Something else happened. It is, let your subconscious do the work for you. This goes for, should I talk to this person? Should I send them this message? Should I voice message them? Should I call them? Should I text them? Should I start the group chat? Should I send this message? Go with your gut. Your subconscious is very intelligent. Don't, and do it, like, do it throughout your day. Do it, make it a life thing. Listen to your gut. Listen to that whisper. Don't second guess it. You remember how many times we're in school and you're taking a test and the teacher's like, go with your gut instinct. What's your first answer? I do it with my kids. I ask them a simple question and Millie's so afraid she's going to get it wrong. She doesn't say anything. I'm like, what was the first thing that came to your brain? Stop second guessing yourself. Do that in your business, because that's going to move you towards your why. Your brain is trying to solve for it. Stop stopping it. Stop stopping it. Let it solve the goals that you have put in your brain. And those are the things I want to challenge you with. Your why is going to be ever changing, but make sure you are emotionally connected to it. Figure out what is driving you day in and day out. What is keeping you excited? And see it, feel it, experience it before it even happens. Allow yourself to wander. Allow your brain to go that way. Like, I know I do that when we are on vacation and I'm just like, what if like every Monday was like this? Like, what if weekends weren't weekends because it was all the same? Like, can you wrap your brain around that? Like, what if we stopped calling them weekends because it didn't really matter anymore? Like, it's all the same. Because your hard work has landed you success. And now you don't have weekends, it's just weeks. Like, that'd be pretty freaking cool. So that's why I want to challenge you guys. Thank you for getting on. I love y'all very much. I hope you have a wonderful day. And I hope, just like Michael said, that the weather is as beautiful there as it is here. Have a good Wednesday, guys. See ya.